Now they're locking phasers on the engineering section of the ship because Khan had read all of the materials, the technical manuals of the Enterprise back when he was on the ship in Space Seed. Yes! And the close-up of Kirk as he says, fire! Alright, well, it is time for my analysis of one of the most popular Star Trek movies of all time, Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. So while Star Trek the Motion Picture was not the most beloved movie in the franchise, it did make enough money for Paramount to recognize that, Star Trek, might be able to make some money for us in the future. So they went ahead and commissioned a Star Trek II. The only downside for Gene Roddenberry, though, is that he was sidelined. They didn't ask him to come back to help with the movie, which kind of sucks. But what they did was hire TV producer Harve Bennett, who is pretty well known for producing shows like, I think, Have Gun Will Travel, $6 Million Man, Bionic Woman, and he ended up not being a fan of Star Trek at all, so he went back and watched all 79 of the original episodes, and he came across Space Seed, which piqued his interest because of the line that Spock has at the end of Space Seed when he says how it would be interesting to come back in 100 years and see what crop had been produced from the seed you planted today. So that kind of got his mind going. The movie was written and directed by Nicholas Meyer, who is at the time more well known for a movie called Time After Time, which is kind of like a time travel movie with H.G. Wells and stuff. And he ended up writing it with Khan in mind, but did not even ask Ricardo Montalban if he would want to return into this role. He just wrote it and then asked him later. Fortunately, Ricardo was eager to play something besides Mr. Rourke on Fantasy Island. And as for Leonard Nimoy, it took him a little bit of convincing to come back, and he thought that, this is probably going to be the last Star Trek movie, and I could go out with a bang and have a great death. So that's why he ended up coming back. The original title for the movie was going to be The Vengeance of Khan. And right about that same time, Revenge of the Jedi was wrapping production. And they thought, well, maybe we shouldn't have two movies called Revenge in the title. Of course, later, Revenge of the Jedi was changed to Return of the Jedi. And then Vengeance of Khan was changed to The Wrath of Khan. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this party started. Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, starring William Shatner. I just love William Shatner, he's so awesome. Leonard Nimoy, he's fantastic. DeForest Kelley was always said to be a real gentleman. Ricardo Montalban as Khan in the 23rd century. Oh, I love that wireframe of the Enterprise. Now, I understand that the death of Spock was originally going to happen at the beginning of the movie. Then it leaked out that was going to happen, and it upset a lot of Star Trek fans. So they ended up moving it to the end of the movie. But they kept this little misdirection here in this Kobayashi Maru scene. You'll see a little bit later when Spock dies. They thought that that would be a good way to kind of throw off the audience and breathe a sigh of relief that, oh, that's what they meant when Spock was going to die. The neutral zone has always kind of surprised me. It's just this oval shape in space. I always thought it was more like a divider between two sections. It's the same shot from Star Trek the Motion Picture. Oh no, there goes Uhura. Oh, they got McCoy too. Oh no, that's it. Spock's dead. The entire original crew just got wiped out in the first opening scene of the movie. What? What is this? Some kind of a test?
Any suggestions, Admiral?
That's such a great shot of Kirk coming out of that light like that. Oh, it's just a bridge simulator. You can hear the audio in the background. Now, Kirstie Alley plays Saavik here, and she's supposed to play a character that's a half Romulan and half Vulcan. But strangely enough, they did not do her eyebrows. She just has, like, her regular eyebrows. I guess maybe they thought that she looked Vulcan enough without them. I thought that was kind of strange. Also, you may notice that they refer to her as Mr. Saavik, and the way I understand that, that is a naval standard, and I think they were trying to bring more of the Navy into Star Trek. Okay, so now this shot right here, that globe is actually in the foreground. It's made to look like it's this giant globe that's right next to Kirk, but forced perspective made it look much bigger. And again, that was a cost-cutting measure because this movie was made, what they like to say, quick and cheap. You know, it's not always the money that you put into a movie. It's the story that you put into the movie that makes the difference. And this is the first time we've ever seen Captain Kirk's apartment. In the background there is a Commodore PET computer, which, of course, William Shatner was the spokesperson for Commodore back then. I remember he did a bunch of VIC-20 commercials. That weird square-shaped display thing looks like a typical thing you'd see from the 70s. Dr. McCoy has brought him some Romulan ale, which is illegal, of course, because it's supposed to be, if I remember right from the book, it was kind of a narcotic, I think.
Yeah, well, it takes this stuff a while to ferment.
Of course, those are the glasses that we would see in Star Trek IV that he ended up selling at the antique shop. Now, I can't imagine a set of glasses being really worth all that much money. That's something new that we learned about Kirk, is that he's allergic to Retinax, which is some kind of a eye medicine, I guess. Oh, one of my favorite things is the models in the background. You can see those models of the buildings. This just looks so cheesy, but I love it. I love it. So I've always wondered, how old is Captain Kirk in this movie? Apparently, he was born in 2233. His birth date is March 22nd. And this movie is supposed to take place in the year 2285. So I guess he's 52, but they seem to be making a big deal about him reaching this milestone in his birthdays. So this should be like his 50th birthday, really. And really, 50 is not that old, especially for a naval officer, or I guess in this case, a Starfleet officer. Now, this shot of the Reliant coming into frame, I remember when I saw the movie in the theater, everybody cheered because they thought it was the Enterprise. And then, wait a second, it's not the Enterprise. Chekhov getting an extra role here in this movie. I always felt like they gave him a little bit more to do in the movies because they felt bad that he wasn't in the first season of the show. And this is actor Paul Winfield as Terrell. He was in an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. You may remember the Darmok episode with he and Captain Picard were on this planet together. He played the alien. So this set is a redress of the Enterprise set. Also, it was reused for the Enterprise simulator. But if you notice in the background, they didn't even bother to change the graphics to make it look more like the Reliant. It still looks like the Enterprise. And then this is the regular one space station, but it is the same model that they used for Star Trek The Motion Picture. It's only been turned upside down. And that's B.B. Besh. I think she was in Guiding Light or Search for Tomorrow or one of those soap operas. Then later she was in the movie Tremors. So it was always good to see her in that. And her son is played by Merritt Butrick. He was also in an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation in the episode Symbiosis. Sadly, he died, I think, in 1989. Much, much, much too young.
What is it?
Uh-oh, we're beaming down to City Alpha 6. Because we got to see if we can use this Genesis torpedo on the planet. And apparently, if they find even any bit of life on a planet, they don't want to use it because they don't want to interrupt the natural evolution of that life form. So they have to find a planet that's completely devoid of life at all. This entire planetscape was done inside a set, and that yes, they were blowing like sand at the actors and wind and everything, and it was just a huge mess getting into everything apparently. The space suits are reused from motion picture. You may remember Spock and Kirk wore the spacesuits when they were going into V'ger. So the cargo containers that you see here are meant to be the cargo containers that you see in Star Trek The Motion Picture. Like you can see them being moved around outside the Enterprise and then inside the landing bay. Oh, that model that you saw there on the wall is supposed to represent the launcher for the Botany Bay, because the Botany Bay had to have some kind of a structure that would help it launch up into space, and that's what that model was supposed to be. The Ceti eels, of course, being one of the only remaining life forms on this planet. Kind of creepy. They probably just had somebody moving their hand underneath of it. Also, you notice the books that they had there: King Lear, Paradise Lost, Moby Dick, and the Bible. All books that Khan would read, I guess, to maybe shape his psyche. What is that seatbelt from? did they just pull that over from the original ship? Because the interior of this obviously is not like the Botany Bay in the show. Commander Kyle, there you can see, he was the same actor who played Kyle in Star Trek the original series. You mostly saw him like in the transporter room. Then here's the reveal of Khan. Now, one of the big plot holes of the movie is that Walter Koenig was not in that episode, Space Seed, back in the day. Chekhov was not in the episode. But it's been kind of retconned a little bit. I know Walter Koenig jokes about how he thought maybe he kept Khan from, getting into the bathroom and got enraged at him or something like that. But in the actual novel of this book here, it said that Chekhov was in engineering at the time, and he helped slow down Khan from taking over the ship, which then made Kirk want to promote him to the bridge. So that's kind of your backstory on why he was not in the actual episode. Now you notice the little handle on the front of the spacesuits there. That was added on intentionally, just so Khan could lift up Chekhov. And there's actually a reverse shot, where you can see the two screws that they just screwed in to put that handle in there.
Botany Bay lost in space from the year 1996.
1996? How is it that we don't know about Khan? What happened? So there are a couple of books written by Greg Cox that explain how Khan rose to power and everything. Basically, it was all secret. It's all in clandestine. So all the stuff that you heard about on the news back in 1996, supposedly that was Khan's doing. All the bad stuff that happened back then, Khan was responsible for all of that.
It's only the fact
of my genetically engineered intellect that allowed us to survive. Watch this scene with Ricardo here. Look at his eyes. He's coming to that realization. He's so good. He's such a great actor.
You didn't
expect to find me. You thought this was SETI Alpha 6. See, you can see the screws holding up the handle in Chekhov's spacesuit right there. I think they use wires for that. I'm not sure though. All right, so everybody thinks that is a fake prosthetic chest, but Nicholas Myers confirmed it. That is actually Ricardo Montalban's chest. He was actually a pretty buff guy back then. Ooh.
What do you think?
So creepy.
They killed 20 of my people.
It's just like a hand puppet. Somebody's reaching up underneath. They kind of remind me of antlions. Have you ever seen, like, if you're walking through the dirt and you can see, like, this cone-shaped indention in the ground? That's what's known as an antlion, and they dig these holes to capture ants, obviously, to eat. And those little pincers, they look just like an antlion's.
Instantly, to be sure.
These are pets, of course.
Pets, of course.
Not quite domesticated.
Quite domesticated.
So apparently this scene was so terrifying back in the movie theater back in the day that they actually cut it back a little bit, so it wasn't quite as scary. But that is a giant prosthetic ear of Walter Koenig while they're pulling this little creature inside of it. Now tell me. Why are you here?
Why?
And tell me where I may find James Kirk.
James Kirk.
And there he is. Right there, he's on the shuttle, heading over to the Enterprise. Now, of course, these are the same scenes that they used from Star Trek the Motion Picture. They just reused them. And, I have no problem with that at all, because look at how beautiful that ship is. But also, back in the original show, they reused a lot of those scenes anyway, so it kind of falls in line with the original show. Now, watch Sulu.
I'm delighted. Any chance to go aboard?
Right? He starts to say something else right there, but they cut it. And I think it's, he was going to say something to the effect of how he was getting ready to head over to the Excelsior, to be the captain of the Excelsior. But I don't think William Shatner liked the idea of giving Sulu his own ship. Now this torpedo bay is actually a redress of the Klingon cruiser in Star Trek the Motion Picture. You can kind of tell because they've got these big giant like shock absorbers on the sides. This moment here where James Doohan says that Dr. McCoy pulled him through from a wee bout of shore leave, that's a reference to James Doohan, who apparently had a heart attack right before the filming of this movie, and it was questionable whether he would even be in the movie, but I'm grateful he made it. And I gotta say, I love the new uniforms. They just look very classy to me. Okay, so this scene here where they're speaking to each other in Vulcan, they were actually speaking in English, much like they did in Star Trek the Motion Picture, and then they redubbed it over to make it sound more Vulcan. I don't know why they didn't just speak Vulcan to begin with. Here we are in the engine room, and this is the same engine room from Star Trek the Motion Picture. You can tell by the that forced perspective background there. You can see the two leads to the engine nacelles. And that little room right there was constructed specifically for this movie, obviously because of the end scene that happens with Spock.
What about the rest of the inspection?
Later. Alright, let's get this ship going. Admiral on the bridge. Kirk is just in awe, as always, when he gets on the bridge.
Running lights on.
Take us out, Mr. Savick. They didn't do the eyebrows, but at least they did her ears.
Aye, sir.
Now, in the book, she actually has piloted the Enterprise out of space dock many times, but only in simulations. Again, look how beautiful the ship is. Obviously from the motion picture, these motion picture scenes, but like you can see the little panels of the ship. I always love the shot of that astronaut there. I guess he's an astronaut. Now this shot here is actually the final shot from Star Trek the Motion Picture, right before she goes into warp. But I'm not mad at it. Okay, back to regular one. Oh, there's the Genesis torpedo right there. I didn't even notice that before. You could tell there's something wrong with Chekhov. He's very monotone, kind of like me. See, look at the actors in the background. They already look annoyed. Look at him, like that one guy right there in the middle. He's like, what? He's like overdoing it already.
Who in the hell?
Now they can get upset, but not before. The order comes from Admiral James T. Kirk.
Knew it.
See, you can kind of tell that Chekhov thought of that on the fly. Like, he didn't know what to say, so he just... Yeah, Admiral Kirk is the one who gave the order. I feel like Chekhov thought he made a mistake here, but it actually kind of really gets the story moving, because otherwise, how would Kirk know to go check out Regular One? Oh, Savick with long hair.
It's still regulation, Admiral.
Now, I understand that Kirstie Alley was actually a Star Trek fan from back in the day, so when she got this movie, I mean, she had to be over the moon, right?
Who's been holding up the damn elevator?
See, I imagine the scene was like, with Khan and Chekhov, I imagine it was something like that. Like, who's been holding up the damn bathroom? An urgent comm pick? Is that a communications picture? We're setting all the pieces into motion here.
Who's taking Genesis?
I've never quite understood the whole relationship between these scientists and Starfleet. I think that they were creating Genesis kind of on their own, and they had requested Starfleet for assistance to find a planet suitable for Genesis. And so there should be no other relationship at all between the two. That big tapestry there on the side is supposed to be the IDIC. IDIC stands for Infinite Diversity and Infinite Combinations. There's like a little red piece of, it looks like a red kryptonite over there glowing, but that's probably a piece of Vulcan. Remember in Star Trek, the motion picture, there was all these red chunks of, they look like glass all over the place.
Logic clearly dictates that the needs
of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
The one.
See, they're kind of laying the groundwork for what's going to happen later in the movie by reminding you that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. This actor is named Judson Scott, and he is not credited in the movie at all. And the reason being is his agent at the time tried to get him a little bit higher billing in the movie, and it backfired. And the producers of the movie just decided that we're not going to give him a credit at all in the movie, which, I don't know, I think kind of stinks. I don't think the punishment quite fits the crime there. But for years I wondered, who is this actor? Who is Khan's right-hand man, and why did he not get a credit? Maybe he didn't want a credit, is what I was thinking. So this is basically the same quarters from Star Trek the Motion Picture. You can see the same windows there and everything. Alright, so this entire sequence here of the Genesis torpedo hitting the dead moon and turning it into a living, breathing planet, that was all created by George Lucas's CGI division at the time, which would later become Pixar. And this was a very groundbreaking sequence back then. It's one of the first where it looks sort of kind of realistic. I mean, you got the realistic looking mountains and then the water, and then it zooms out to show, you know, the full planet, and it's all CGI. Again, very groundbreaking stuff for Star Trek. And this is a classic back and forth between Spock and McCoy. We're talking about Universal Armageddon.
It's Reliant.
It's Reliant. Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, and that red light coming out of the Reliant is just so terrifying. Let's be friends.
On the approach of any vessel when communications have not been established.
Yeah, don't step on Kirk's toes here, lady. Although Savik's right, though. There's no communications. You don't know what's going on here. It's probably safer to just go ahead and raise the shields. One big happy fleet. Ah, Kirk, my old friend.
Do you know the Klingon proverb?
How would Khan know of a Klingon proverb? Maybe he read it from the Enterprise computer or something back in the day. Oh, I love that shot. Look at that. Now, they're locking phasers on the engineering section of the ship because Khan had read all of the materials, the technical manuals of the Enterprise back when he was on the ship in Space Seed. Ugh. But that yellow smoke looks very, very bad. Oh, then he gets up and he just, like, leaves his buddy behind.
They knew exactly where to hit us. Where to hit us.
Khan knew where to hit you.
They cannot escape the auxiliary power.
Hang on!
Ugh. See, watch that actor in the background. He, like, jumps right at that exact moment. He doesn't just, like, fall over because of the explosion. He, like, hops up in the air.
I cannot help
But be touched. I, of course, remember you.
What is the meaning of this attack?
Now, you'll notice that Kirk and Khan never share the screen together. It's always through a view screen. And I had read somewhere that originally there was going to be this, like, a sword fight between them. But I guess the scheduling didn't quite work out with Ricardo doing Fantasy Island and all that. See, Kirk says, clear the bridge. In Motion Picture, he also says, clear the bridge, which means everybody literally to get off. But in this one, he just means, you know, these cleanup crew get off the bridge.
Punch up the data charts of Reliance Command Console.
So the prefix code is basically like a remote control, kind of like we have today with computers, how we can, you know, control a computer remotely kind of thing. They're just going to use this code to connect to the Reliance control panel and tell it to turn down the shields. I love Kirk's little moment with his glasses there. You got the Reliant circling around outside the Enterprise like a shark.
Oh, I've given you no.
I love Ricardo in this role. He is just so good.
In my judgment, you simply have no alternative.
16309. A 5-digit code. That's all it takes to bring down the shields of a starship. Oh, I love this part. I love this.
The override!
Yes! And the close-up of Kirk as he says, fire! Oh, just barely clears the Enterprise. Imagine if they had collided. Why did Scotty bring his nephew up to the bridge? Always been a point of contention. This shot here of the Enterprise being damaged on the side just hurts me. It just hurts me to see the Enterprise damaged. The actor who plays Peter Preston, Scotty's nephew, was the same actor. I think his name is Ike. I can't remember his last name, but he was pretty well known for being in the Disney movie Escape from Witch Mountain. Oh, that's the table from Star Trek the Motion Picture that Ilea is on. Everybody wonders, why is Scotty so upset about this one engineer passing away? And again, it's because it's his nephew. This shot is kind of funny to me because the Enterprise to scale is just way off. The Enterprise is way bigger than it should be, or the regular one space station should be way smaller, based on the size of the windows.
Be careful.
We will.
Spock with the eyebrow. Oh, that's a cool shot. The scene has a bit of a horror movie vibe to it. Just don't know what's lurking in the shadows. Is Khan there? Oh, and I love these uniforms that they're wearing, these jackets. They would later be sort of kind of replicated in Star Trek Picard Season 3. Dr. Crusher wears a very similar style of jacket. Definitely knocked it out of the park with the costumes in this movie. So Khan's plan was to go over, kill all the scientists, and then lock Chekhov and Terrell in this little box. Because his superior intellect thought that, Kirk is going to trust Chekhov now, but he has him under his control.
To control our mind.
Okay, Chekhov just told Kirk what's going on, and they just totally ignore it. You'd think that maybe McCoy would want to do an analysis on him and see if he's okay, and if he did, he'd probably determine that there's some kind of creature inside of Chekhov. But no, it's fine. It's fine. You can tell that there's something wrong with him. Why would they not run some tests, some medical tests? I mean, that's the whole reason Dr. McCoy is there, right? But they don't. So this console, this transporter control panel, is actually a reuse from the Klingon vessel in Star Trek: The Motion Picture. I believe it was like the navigator's console or something like that. And the little lights flickering in the background, I think they used some disco balls, and that's why you're seeing them spin around like that. It's kind of a cool effect, but also kind of fits within the whole quick and cheap kind of mentality of this movie.
Hours could seem like days.
See, if Khan is so super intelligent, why didn't he figure out that there's a code that's being relayed between Kirk and Spock here? Spock just gave it away. He gave you the key to the code at the beginning. He said hours could seem like days. It would have been really interesting had Khan, taken advantage of that. But honestly, I think that was more meant to kind of surprise the audience. Oh, you can hear the sound effects from the original show in the background there.
Then this will be your big chance to get away from it all.
And then look at McCoy just glaring at him after that. How could you make a comment like that, Kirk? Oh, and they really expanded the transporter effect here. Secret cave on Regula 1. There it is. The Genesis torpedo. I love this because David is just the perfect mix between Kirk and Carol. At least with the hair, anyways. She has blonde hair, and he has curly hair, and David has blonde curly hair. So obviously, it has to be Kirk's son, right? We didn't see phasers in Star Trek: The Motion Picture, but for some reason, as you'll see in a moment, they have 4 beams that shoot out instead of just one. Oh, it's vaporized. Jeddah, I think that was the character's name. First things first, Captain. Kill Admiral Kirk. Now, why does Terrell have to obey Khan? Couldn't anybody give him some suggestions and he would have to obey it? Why does it have to be Khan? Is it so bad you have to vaporize yourself? It's that bad, huh? Oh, we can't kill Chekhov, though. He's too important to the mythos of the show. Poor Chekhov. He's always getting injured in all the Star Treks. Ugh. See, look at that. You see it's got 4 beams that shoot out. And here it comes. God! It's like the most famous moment in all of this movie is Kirk just shouting, God! You can see Chekhov there laying on the bed. Well, makeshift bed, I guess. See, his eyes are open. He's looking around. He's good. So Nicholas Meyer has said that William Shatner's acting gets better the more takes that he does because he gets bored with it. So he would make him do these takes over and over again to get the best performance out of him. And I think that bears out because if you see his acting style in Star Trek V, he's kind of cheesy for most of it. And that's because he didn't have the director having him, repeat the scene over and over again. He just did it once or twice and he was done. course, that's a matte painting. Somehow they've added light to it, though. I'm not sure how they did that. And I read somewhere that this set was one of the biggest that they created for the movie, but it seems very, very small. And here's Reliant looking for the Enterprise. Because apparently it's not good enough for Khan to defeat Kirk. He has to defeat the whole ship, too. See, this blasé attitude that Kirk is kind of displaying here, I think is what Chris Pine tried to emulate, very badly, I might add, in Star Trek 2009. You know, they showed him repeating this scene in the movie on the Kobayashi Maru, and he's eating the apple, and, you know, he's, Warp 1, let's get out of here. You know, he's just very, very lame. See, like right there, he takes a bite of that apple, and Chris Pine tried to emulate him doing that, and it does not work.
You lied.
I exaggerated. Spock would exaggerate a lot in the future.
Battle stations.
Battle stations. I've always wondered, why are we seeing half of Regula's detail? And supposedly the Enterprise is using the Regula 1's sensors in order to create this image. And that's how they knew where the Reliant was. Oh, beautiful shot of the Enterprise. Coming up is a cameo by James Horner, the composer of the music. He's the one holding that light stick right there, that walked right by. This crewman here who's observing the torpedo going down. Now look at him. He's just kind of standing around, looking around like, what do I do now? It would have been nice if he had a prop or a pad or something to work on. There she is. There she is. Not so wounded as we were led to believe. So much the better. Oh, God, it's so good. Ooh, beautiful shot of the Enterprise. Look how close this torpedo comes to hitting the Enterprise. I mean, you could not get any closer than that. Oh, and that previous shot, we just saw David down in sickbay. Now instantly, there he's on the bridge. And also, who just lets just random people just walk onto the bridge?
1 minute.
This is Admiral Kirk. We tried it once your way, Khan. Are you game for a read?
Khan's surprised. How could he possibly be surprised? He's got the superior intellect.
I'm laughing at the superior intellect.
Full power! Damn you! Yeah, I love how his hair just kind of goes wild when he hits the button. Now, the nebula was created by having different inks and temperatures of water in a tank. And they would mix them together and create this swirling effect. But this shot here looks like it was a matte painting. This one looks like it could have been in the tank. So, Khan's crew supposedly were Chippendale dancers, and they chose them because of their buff physique. But I always laughed because, you know, that one guy who just kind of fell into Khan there. Was he a Chippendale dancer too? Now, Nicholas Meyer has said that he wanted this scene because it evoked submarines battling each other. Starfleet is like Space Navy, so there you go. And oh, I love that beautiful shot of the Enterprise swinging around. Oh, it's not Sulu's fault. The shock shifted his pushing of the button there. But that shot was way bad, not even close. Oh no! I love how Kirk turns to the side. And notice that the Reliant hits the torpedo bay. It damages the, I guess you could say the port torpedo bay. And you'll notice later in the movie when they shoot Spock's tube out, I guess it's the starboard torpedo bay. Joachim. He closes his eyes. You can see him close his eyes. I think Khan should have closed his eyes for him there. Chekhov is back to get some redemption.
He's intelligent, but not experienced.
Yeah, it's a good thing Spock's there.
Two-dimensional thinking.
Let's try going up and down instead of side to side. Let's see if we can find it that way. Beautiful shot. Going down into the swirliness of the Mutara Nebula. Khan's praying here? Praying to find Kirk? How about just, like, surrender? Say, you know, you win. But I just don't think that's in Khan's psyche. Oh, this is the Sneaky Pete shot. The torpedo button is actually a piece of wood with a doorbell on it. See, they're shooting from the, I guess, the starboard torpedo bay because the other one had been damaged. But now they're shooting the phasers at the engine nacelle. Well, that's it for the Reliant. Always kind of surprised me, though, that why is there so much explosions on the bridge if the engine nacelle got blown off? That's like way on the other part of the ship. You'll notice that Khan's bloody face looks almost the same as Peter Preston's earlier in the movie.
No,
The game's not over.
the game's not over.
Many of Khan's phrases come from Moby Dick. And that book is really about unbridled vengeance that Captain Ahab has against the white whale. So it fits perfectly with this movie. So we have two versions of the Genesis wave. We have that one where it's like a swirling atom kind of deal. But then you've got the one now that they're showing, which is the osmotic micropump from Star Trek The Motion Picture. See it right there. That's supposed to be the Genesis wave? Oh, Spock's realizing. So Spock doesn't take the turbo lift to engineering. Instead, he climbs a ladder. Seems like it would take a lot longer to climb down there than what they got. They got like 4 minutes left. McCoy just comes out of nowhere and stops him. McCoy gives up so quickly there. He trusts Spock too much.
Doctor, I have no time to discuss this logically.
So the remember bit was added when they asked Leonard Nimoy, what could you possibly do to continue this somehow in the future? And Leonard thought, well, I can do a mind meld on McCoy, and we'll just see where it goes after that. Look at that. Oh, ILM did a fantastic job with the Enterprise effects. The screens in this little room here that are up above were reused for Star Trek 4 and the Klingon ship. So it's kind of funny how the sets sometimes go from a Klingon ship to a Federation ship, then back to a Klingon ship again. No, you can't get away.
From
Hell's hot. I stab at thee. For hate's sake.
for hate's sake.
I spit my last breath at thee. Go, Sulu! I kind of hope Khan didn't see Kirk escape here at the end. Imagine the shock on his face as he watched the Enterprise go into warp just before he blows up. Very different explosion. Obviously intentional, because this explosion is supposed to create a planet, reforming the matter with the Genesis effect. Now the Enterprise is like at a totally different angle than it was when it was coming out of there. That always kind of bothered me. I think you better get down here.
Bones?
Better hurry.
Better hurry.
Spock's gone.
No! You'll flood the whole compartment. He's dead already.
So originally, McCoy was going to say the line, "He's dead, Jim." But it's become such a cliche that they decided to give the line to Scotty instead, and he says, "He's dead already." I saw this, I thought, oh, he's okay. He's still moving. They can take him back to sick bay and give him some radiation treatments. Needs of the many. Oh, wait.
The needs of the few.
Or the one.
Or the one. I never took the Kobayashi Maru test. Until now.
What do you think?
Sacrifice was Spock's solution. Live long. And prosper. You know, it never really hit me that hard when Spock died. I don't know. I think because I knew that couldn't be the end. It just can't be. That can't be the end. And here they are in Torpedo Bay 2.
Assembled here today.
You can see that on the right. And over on the left it says Torpedo Bay 1. But isn't this the torpedo bay that Khan hit earlier in the movie where it all exploded? I can't imagine they cleaned it up that quickly.
And yet it should.
All the souls I've encountered in my travels.
I have encountered in my travels. His was the most
His was the most human.
human.
You can see Savick weeping there. William Shatner was not pleased with that. He thought that Vulcans should not cry. And yet, in Star Trek the Motion Picture, Spock weeps. He weeps for Beecher. Also, supposedly, Saavik was half Romulan. But do Romulans cry? I don't think they would cry either. And Scotty is playing Amazing Grace on his bagpipes. And you saw the torpedo come out of the starboard torpedo bay, the one that was still functional. And that's a shot from Motion Picture again, pretty much the end of the movie. Kirk is in his quarters, trying to read the book. And somehow the glasses got broken. Maybe when he was rushing down to engineering. I love this scene between
I was wrong.
Kirk and his son reconciling.
And I'm sorry.
We could heal a lot of things in this world by just saying I'm sorry.
Very proud
I would be proud too.
to be your son.
It's so heartbreaking. Because you know what's going to happen in the next movie. Great shot. The Enterprise. He's really not dead. As long as we remember him.
As long as we remember it.
Now, it could have ended right there, showing the Enterprise heading off into space. But they chose to do this extra scene here at the end of the movie where they show Spock's photon tube on the planet. And this scene here was actually filmed in Golden Gate Park, which I find pretty funny because in Star Trek 4, Captain Kirk says, "Put her down" in Golden Gate Park. But this is the real Golden Gate Park. In Star Trek 4, it was, I think, Roy Rogers Park or something like that. But there's your sequel right there. Maybe they'll make a sequel.
Frontier.
Maybe. Now, this is the first time that anyone besides William Shatner has spoken the famous words, "Space, the final frontier," and it's really appropriate that it's Leonard Nimoy doing it. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed watching Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan with me here today. I hope you learned some things about the movie, and if you did, please leave some comments down below. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for watching, take care, and we'll see you out there.